Ryan Shoemaker.
Pretty good looking day out there. Sunshine around this afternoon. Some of these high thin clouds coming through, but not enough to block out very much of the sunshine. And the humidity kind of taking a little bit of a dip all the way through the weekend. Now, it is June, and usually it is pretty humid, so any decrease is a bonus, and we have that going on for at least a few days. Not a huge drop in humidity, but enough to help cool temperatures a bit at night. High temperatures during the day, though, still mainly in the 90s everywhere except for right at the coast as we head through the next several days. But you see this dry weather across the area this afternoon. There was a weak cold front that came through yesterday. Did spark a couple thunderstorms around. That has pushed to the south, but still causing some rain over in the mountains of Mexico. Some of this is in our watershed, so eventually it drains down into places like Falcon Lake and areas of the Rio Grande. So we do get a little bit of benefit to some of the rain headed over into the mountains of Mexico, but dry weather here. If you've been out, though, you notice the wind flow, which is usually from the southeast, pretty much all June, July, August, is actually coming in more from the east and northeast. A little change in the wind direction behind that weak front that went through. So a light breeze from the east and northeast today, about 10 to 15, 17 miles per hour or so, helping to put a little dent in the humidity. So again, highs today will be back in the 90s. Except for right at the coast, about 87 at South Padre Island. So even though it is very warm out there during the day, the humidity's down some, and that will lead to some slightly cooler temperatures at night. And the reason for that is we'll have mostly clear skies at night, and you combine that with lighter winds overnight and the fact that we have some lower humidity, that helps things to cool more at night. When the air is very humid at night, that moisture kind of keeps the heat here, absorbs the heat and sends it back out our way. So it doesn't allow things to cool off much at night, but when the air is drier, it helps cool at night when the sun goes down. So we could see some 60s, maybe not everywhere, especially right at the coast, but the farther inland you are, especially in some of the normally cooler areas, you could eventually end up in the 60s late tonight. Of course, we're talking, like 4 or 5 in the morning towards sunrise. Not, if you run out the door at sunset, it's not going to be in the 60s, still going to be in the 80s at sunset. But look at the lows tonight, expected to be down mostly in the upper 60s by morning. Again, these would be temperatures you'll probably see generally around like 5, 6, 7 in the morning. As we get close to sunrise, you may start to approach these numbers, but most of the night toward midnight or later will still be in the 70s, but a little cooler for this time of year. And how frequent does this happen? Well, it got me thinking this morning. So look back at some data. Just pulled up McAllen. Maybe we'll have fun later today when I make some maps for Tim Smith, see if we can pull up a few more cities. But in McAllen, the last day in June where we had a low temperature in the 60s, want to take a stab at it? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't this year or last year. You have to go all the way back to June 6th of 2012. It made it down to 69 degrees. That's 7 years ago. Remember those days? I remember those days. You didn't have to wear a mask, and things were still, everyone was happy, having fun. But yeah, June, it's been a while, 8 years since we've had a low in the 60s in McAllen, but still the benefit of the low humidity, if you want to go out and get some exercise, still hot in the afternoon, so we'll put the heat on there. You don't want to jog in the sun when it's like 95 degrees, but once we get the sun a little lower toward the horizon, then it feels pretty good out there for a run. I ran 4.5 miles yesterday, and it wasn't, that much less humid. It was cooler, but I was working up a pretty good sweat, so maybe a little more comfortable out there towards sunset today. 90 degrees right now you see in Brownsville, 91 in Laredo, 72 in Monterey, and that's because of the showers and clouds over there. But the cooler weather, a little bit of cooler weather from the north, mainly just being felt with the lower humidity and at night. Futuretrack does show mostly sunny skies around today. You don't see anything on the map this afternoon, just dry weather, and then by tonight, clear skies or mostly clear skies, and then it cools off some. Friday, still a mostly sunny day, maybe a few clouds here and there, but low humidity and temperatures back again mostly in the low to mid 90s in the afternoon. But the humidity stays low on Friday and pretty much on Saturday. So Friday night, if you're out later at night or in the morning on Saturday, if you're up early to do some work outside, it is going to be about the same. We may start the day early Saturday morning in the upper 60s, but still mostly sunny skies and not too humid for Saturday, and that trend continues into Sunday. So you can probably get a good car wash in, and when you see the rain chances coming up, we have a 10% chance, maybe a sprinkle either Saturday or Sunday morning if we get a little bit of clouds maybe near the coast. But essentially it should be a dry forecast all the way through the weekend, but we could start to see rain chances come up a little bit by next week. So the weekend across the valley, still warm during the day, highs mostly in the low 90s, but mid to upper 60s in some areas to start the day, just briefly around sunrise, and mainly dry weather around the area. So good looking weather. Like I showed you on the graphic, you don't get too many days when the humidity stays down in June, almost ever. So, if you want to take advantage of it, find something to do the next few days and through the weekend. Highs still in the low to mid 90s each afternoon through Sunday, but the humidity stays down. When you see those low temperatures in the 60s, upper 60s or so, that gives you an idea that the humidity is down all the way through Sunday morning. It starts to come back next week. We're back into the mugginess easily by next Tuesday and Wednesday. Highs in the mid to upper 90s, lows back in the muggy 70s, and we could start to see maybe an isolated shower, about a 10 or 20% chance of a shower or wheat storm early next week, but we're not expecting any real significant rain chance through the weekend coming up. But again, some dry days are ahead for the most part and lower humidity. We'll keep tracking it here on Channel 5 News at noon.